When you're consistent in these 5 areas that I'm going to be sharing with you in today's episode, you're going to see an improvement in your happiness, your peace, your money, your mindset, your responses, your emotions. Simply put, you're going to see an improvement to your overall quality of life. And even better than that, by being consistent in these 5 areas, you are going to put yourself on a fast track to accomplishing your biggest goals. So if you're somebody that has big goals and big dreams that you want to accomplish in 2023, these 5 areas are the best place to start your success process. So if that's you and you're ready to take action for your goals, let's do it. Welcome to the Dream Lifestyle Podcast, where the focus and mission is to help you find your how to your biggest goals. My name is Trevon Gross Jr., and I'm extremely thankful to have you here today because you matter, your dream matters, it's possible, and I believe in you. I'm excited about today's episode because I'm going to be sharing with you 5 areas to be consistent in so that way you can be successful in 2023. And the one thing that I really want to point out that I think is foundational for this episode when we get into the specific areas is the idea of consistency. Okay, you may be listening to me right now and you think that being consistent is difficult. Well, let me nip that in the bud early and let you know you don't have a problem with being consistent because you already are consistent. You're just not being consistent in the way that you need to be. You're consistent by being inconsistent, if that makes sense. Essentially, what I'm saying is you're consistently bad. So we basically need to flip that script and make you consistently good at something in a way that's productive. All right. So that's going to require some decisions. That's going to require some learning. That's going to require you just basically getting out of your own way and really taking action for what you want. And that's basically how you become consistent. It's really not a matter of whether you are or not consistent. It's just a matter of, is it positive consistency or is it negative consistency? Okay. So as we go through these, I want you to think about that because each of us has these different areas in our lives, but the really, really good people, the successful people, the people that are living the dream already are positively consistent in these areas. And you can be too. And that's why you're here. All right. And so I hope that you get something from this episode. Matter of fact, if you are somebody that you fell for the lie that you're struggling with being consistent, let me know in the comments. Let me know, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you and help you out with this because I'm telling you, you can be consistent. It's just a matter of making sure you're very clear on what you're running away from and what you're running towards. Now, the first area that you absolutely must be consistent in, and I'm starting off hot because this is the most important one, spiritually. Spiritually, you must be consistent in order for you to be successful. And the reason why this one is so important is because your spirituality is the baseline, is the foundation for everything that you do. It's if you cannot, the best way I can describe this is there's no way you can make an impact exterior to the exterior world, to the outer world, if internally you are not right. If you are out of balance internally, there is no way you can actually set the right priorities externally. But it's going to require you to have that mindfulness. Now, when I say spiritually, wherever you land, whatever you believe in, I personally believe in God. And for me, being consistent with my spirituality is praying every morning and just basically staying connected to God, making sure that all of my decisions are guided by what God tells me to do. Right. For me, I love to follow the Bible where it just says, seek first the kingdom of heaven. For me, that is a foundational scripture. I believe in it. Right now, whatever you decide to do, if you're like me, great. Let's pray together in the mornings. But if you don't necessarily believe in God, that's your choice. Greatest choice I ever made. But you need to make sure that on some level, you are being conscious and aware of your spirituality in the sense of just being mindful. So if praying may not be your thing, at least maybe try meditation or just some form that allows you to really get clear with yourself. You're basically spending time with yourself. This is your time to self-reflect. This is your time to just basically be alone with yourself. Okay. But you need to make sure that you're consistent in that, because if you find yourself doing too much, right? Or you find yourself running around and not spending that time to just sit down and listen, to sit down and really think. I always say thinking is the one thing that people forget to do. If you aren't spending that time with yourself, then you're going to find yourself kind of just fatigued as you make decisions. And you really want to make sure that you're always in a place of being centered. And when you're consistent in your spirituality, if you are consistent in basically checking in with yourself on a day to day, not week to week, not month to month, you have to be consistent every single day with having that mindfulness piece of your day, that mindfulness piece of just your identity, of your consistency. that is what will allow you to make better decisions. It'll allow you to just feel better about your overall life. Okay, so that's area one, your spirituality. You have to be consistent with your spirituality. The second area that you need to be consistent in is you need to be consistent with your finances. You need to be consistent with your finances. Now, what does that look like? Being consistent with your finances, simply put, could mean creating a budget. It could mean learning how to say no. Whatever it is, all of us have different, let's say, deterrents to us being consistent, or I should say positively consistent when it comes to our finances. For me, I have a hard time saying no when it comes to going out or when it comes to going to get food or whatever the case may be. For me, that is like my deterrent from being consistent with my finances, because the thing is, when you create a budget, you set a plan for yourself of how you're going to accomplish whatever financial goals that you have. But even bigger than that, let me hit this point. What's even bigger than the financial goals and everything like that, there really is a piece that you have when just your money's right. And I think so often, or too often, I should say, we treat money as if it's like not important, even though it really is. And it's just like, the truth is, when your money's right, you feel really good. Like, I don't, like, maybe I'm just speaking about me, but when my money is in the right place and I feel like every dollar is properly being planned for, and every action I take, every time I pull out my card, it's like, okay, this was a part of the plan. This is a part of the budget, whatever the case may be. There is truly a peace that I feel. Now, when I'm pulling out the card and it's, oh my, I wasn't expecting to do this, wasn't expecting to pay that. That's more now just more internally, the way I feel about myself, the way I feel about life, the way I interact with life now gets a little bit disrupted because my money isn't necessarily where it needs to be. But when you basically put the right strategies in place to be consistent in your finances, there's a level of confidence that you build within yourself. There's a level of wealth that you're able to build just in your actual bank account, which is important because at the end of the day, money is how we're able to operate. Money is how we're actually able to get the dream, right? You're not going to be able to do it broke. It's just the truth of it. But when you're able to find that consistency, but first it's going to require you to determine what's stopping you from being positively consistent, right? And it's different for everybody. So you have to really be self-aware. And that's why that spirituality piece is important, what I mentioned before, because that's why it's the foundation. You have to be honest with yourself. But when you look at financially, what is stopping you from accomplishing your financial goals? What's stopping you from, saving the amount of money that you want to save on a month to month? What's holding you back from being true to the budget that you set, whatever it is? You have to make sure that you address it. You address that issue. You put the right strategy in place, whether that means you do research on what you can do with your finances, or you go talk to somebody, whatever the case may be, but you just simply take action to be consistent. You put yourself in the right constraints so that way you can do what you have to do, so that way you can be consistent with your finances. Okay. Now, see, my laptop keeps going to sleep on me, y'all. The second area that you need to be consistent in 2023 in order to be successful is physically. Physically, you must be consistent. And the reason why this is important is because at the end of the day, when you think about you being on your way to your goals, on the way to your dreams, you're not going to be able to live your dream if you aren't going to be able to make it to see it. All right. Your health is important, and that means you need to take care of your body. There's no point in being in position for the dream if you can barely get out of bed, or you can barely walk up some steps or walk down steps, whatever it is. Your body, like it says in the Bible, is your temple. So you need to make sure that you're taking care of it so that way you can actually enjoy the dream in all its goodness. But if you aren't willing to go to the gym for, 2 days out of the week, well, you're not necessarily setting yourself up for success. And even deeper than that, the reason, and this is why consistency is such an awesome topic, because when you make the decision, whatever your schedule is, to go to the gym and things like that, you're basically training yourself to show up for yourself, right? So it's not so much actually picking up weights and doing the hard stuff and sweating and all that type of stuff. That's like the second half of it. But the first half, which is the biggest half, is basically just showing up for yourself. It's basically saying, I love me enough that I'm going to take care of myself, even if it doesn't feel good, right? Because If you are always just going to rely on your feelings of, well, I don't feel like going to the gym today. I don't feel like challenging myself with that weight. I don't feel like, and you always basically give in to those feelings, those emotions, you're going to end up feeling horrible about yourself. And when it comes to making the big decisions, when it comes to your career, the big decisions, when it comes to your finances, the big decisions, when it comes to family, friends, whatever the case may be, you have no track record of trusting yourself. You have no track record of even being confident in yourself, of showing up in the moment that you need to, because you didn't take the action of just saying yes to doing something that you don't feel like doing. And that's the power of the gym. That's the power of, however you decide to work out. It doesn't necessarily need to be a gym, but bear with me when I'm saying just the gym, but taking care of yourself physically to go work out. You need to be consistent with your physical health. And that's from working out. That's in eating. That's in just the whole nine. Take care of your body. That's the whole point of this. Be consistent with taking care of your body, whatever that looks like for you. And I also want to talk on this. Don't fall for the lie that the fitness industry has put out there, that you need to be like some muscle bound, go to the gym 5 days a week for 2 hours. It does not need to be that at all. If you are somebody that you're like, Trevon, I have not picked up a weight in like 5 years. I don't even like going up steps. All I'm asking you to do is start off with 1 day a week working out for 5 minutes. Start there. Because at the end of the day, that's more than what you've been doing anyway. But if you dedicate just to start, I don't want you to stay there, but just start here. Start with 1 day a week, work out for 5 minutes. Even if you do a basic walk in place or high knee in place, whatever it is, and you just basically decide to say yes to you, love yourself enough to show up for yourself for those 5 minutes, 1 day a week. And you progress yourself every single week to maybe do a little more. Take the 5 minutes, turn it to 7 minutes, turn it to 10 minutes, turn it to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so on and so forth. And just continue to progress and love yourself enough to show up for yourself physically and be consistent in that. I'm telling you, you're going to see a major difference in the way you make decisions. You're going to see a major difference in the way that you feel. You're going to see a major difference in just the way you respond to life, because you're choosing to love yourself consistently every single day by taking care of yourself physically, by taking care of your body. Okay. Now, the fourth thing that you need to be consistent in 2023 is you need to be consistent in your relationships. And the reason why you want to be consistent in your relationships is because nobody is successful alone. Okay, you're going to need people that are ahead of you. You're going to need people that are where you are, and you're going to need people that are behind you that you are helping out. And you want to make sure that you are consistent in all of those relationships. Specifically, you're consistent with the communication between those 3 levels of people in your solar system. So what that may look like, I'll speak for me personally. For me, I am doing a much better job at being consistent with speaking with people that are ahead of me, speaking with people that are already doing very well in the coaching industry, speaking with people that are doing well in the media production industry, speaking with people that are ahead of me in specific areas of life. And I'm also being consistent with people that are right where I am. And I'm consistent with people that are behind me with where I used to be. And because I'm consistent in those areas, I'm always putting myself in position to be poured into, and I'm always putting myself in position to just be helpful. That's basically the core of it, because it feels really good to help other people. And if you've been following this podcast long enough, you know that I've always said your purpose has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with everybody else. And when you are consistent with relationships, when you are consistent and, when you've identified the function and the purpose of the people that are in your solar system, the people that really matter, you now know exactly who you need to be consistent with. And in you being consistent with those people, you're going to be able to show up for them. And in turn, they'll show up for you. They'll support you in the way that you actually define support. And that will, again, allow you to just be successful in whatever it is that you're trying to do. And it doesn't need to be anything grand. It doesn't need to be anything out of the ordinary. But there really is a lot of power in just reaching out to people, to sending that check-in text, to, having those really intimate type of conversations with your friends, your coaches, your mentors, your teammates, whoever is in your world. It's very important that you're consistent with that communication and actually really keeping those relationships, because the one lie that a lot of people fall into, particularly now that a lot of things have transitioned to being online and at home and social media and everything like that, it's very easy to fall into isolation now more than ever, because you can literally live your life from your couch. You can order food from Uber Eats. You can watch TV. You can get your work done on your laptop. So it's possible to basically live your life in your home with nobody ever coming over. It's possible. And I think you can agree that that type of lifestyle is not going to be conducive to being successful in the way that you need to be successful, particularly since I'm willing to bet whatever that goal or dream you have in your heart is going to require people to say yes to you. And if you aren't being consistent in those relationships and being consistent with even communicating and knowing how to communicate and improving your communication, more than likely people aren't going to say yes to you. So if you work the muscle now of being consistent in the relationships that you have and even the relationships that you want to create and the connections that you do want to build, you put yourself in position to help people. You put yourself in position to be impacted by other people, to impact people as well. You put yourself in position to be successful in a way that you probably aren't right now. So I'm encouraging you right now, in whatever way, shape, or form, identify those people that are on those three levels, people that are ahead of you, people that are where you are, and people that are behind you that you can help out. And basically find a way to be consistent in those relationships. Okay. And then lastly, the last area that you need to be consistent in order to be successful, particularly in 2023, is your learning. You need to be consistent in your learning. And the reason why this is important is because the way in which you are going to be able to fast track yourself to your goals is you're going to need to learn some new skills. You're going to need to learn some new knowledge, whether it be knowledge in your field, whether it's knowledge about yourself. You always need to be a student. The moment you become a teacher is the moment you become stuck, because there's always more for you to learn. And this was a lesson that was somewhat hard for me to understand because, I had done so much work at, learning myself. I had done so much work at learning how to communicate and all these different types of things that it became hard to really listen to people, back to the point about being consistent in those relationships. And what I had to realize was, in order for me to really move forward, in order for me to truly go after my goal, in order for me to truly make my goal a reality, I needed to be willing to unlearn things. I needed to be willing to challenge every single thing that I thought I knew. And that came with my learning. So I basically made the conscious decision through my spirituality and really being clear with myself, through just my finances, because your finances are basically an indicator of just how you're doing with your life, through my relationships, and just basically had to get real with myself and say, okay, I'm behaving too much like a master and I'm not behaving like a student. And so there are changes that we have to make. I have to get back into being curious about things. And the moment I got curious about things, that's when I saw an improvement in my life. And so I tell you that experience for me in pretty short form, just because I want you to start getting curious about whatever it is that you're into currently, whatever is on your process, whatever is in your lane towards your goals. I need you to become a student. I need you to learn. I need you to be consistent and very intentional when it comes to your learning, whether it's you're incorporating watching, some sort of training, or you're buying a course, or you're reading a book, or whatever the case may be. Be a student, be consistent, be very intentional with your learning now. Don't wait till 2023, because if you wait, it'll be too late. Be sure to be consistent in your learning in 2023. And when you do that, you're going to see a difference in your skill level. And when you are increasing your being, you're going to increase your ability to do things, which will basically show itself in what you're able to have as a result of those things. All right. So just to recap what we talked about in today's episode. All right. The 5 areas. Spiritually, you're going to need to be consistent. Physically, you're going to need to be consistent. Financially, you're going to need to be consistent. Relationally, you're going to need to be consistent. And the last thing, educational wise, you're learning, you are going to need to be consistent in order to see and make 2023 the type of year that you want it to be. So I hope that was helpful to you. If you're somebody that you got some great value out of this video, please do me a favor. Please leave a comment. Comment, subscribe, leave a review, show me some love. I'd really appreciate it. And I'd also love to hear your thoughts, just because in the same way, I hope that I'm helping you. By hearing from you, you're going to be helping me. So I really appreciate you guys for checking out this episode. Be sure to share it with somebody that you know is also trying to be successful and find their how to their biggest goals. Always remember, your dream is possible as long as you're willing to work for it. I'll see you guys next week.